right, good evening and many thanks. Of course, it is a beautiful afternoon for joining us here on KUTV on the spot. Of course, the most amazing show. It is a sunny Saturday. Good indication that the Lord has made it possible for you and I to meet yet again on this superb show. Indeed, we have much and more lined up for you this particular Saturday, including the ongoing, of course, the upcoming elections. And later on, we'll be talking to Sasha Mutai, who is eyeing the Kenya Rugby Union chairman position. And of course, our very own Peter PINCHEZ will be bringing to us a very exclusive on the chairman aspirant, just to talk to us about what he thinks need to be done in order to take the Kenyan rugby to even higher heights. And beside that, of course, there has been some ongoing sports here at Kenyatta University, but in particular, the disability, and of course this time round we'll be talking about the inclusion in sports as far as innovation and technology is concerned. And there is still a couple of matches lined up for you, including the Football Kenya Federation Cup, that is the women category that will be going on. Of course, there is a number of matches that are currently going on, and this is the 32 edition, the 32 leg of this particular FKF Women Cup. And of course, defending champions Ulinzi Stars are in action right now, and we'll be taking deeper look into that particular match and what to expect and actually what is happening. And there were some draws that were done yesterday, the UEFA Champions League draw and the Europa League draw, and of course Chelsea were paired with Real Madrid, and that one we'll be taking a look into it, and of course which team to expect. And remember, that particular draw forms the basis of our question today. Which team do you think will proceed all the way to the last, to the quarterfinals of this particular UEFA Champions League? Actually, it is the semi-finals of this UEFA Champions League. Remember, it's 8 teams in total. Out of this, 4 will make it, and of course the rest will iron it out. Remember, the likes of Chelsea and Manchester City have been pulled in a, should I call it a death of pool, against defending champions Real Madrid, and of course one of the most decorated teams, that is Bayern Munich, will be facing Manchester City later on. And in the Europa League, the one and only Manchester United will face one of the most decorated and stylish teams as far as Europa League is concerned, Sevilla. And a couple of teams like the likes of Juventus that have qualified will be playing against some other teams that we'll be taking a look on them later on. But first thing first, let's take a look at some of the news that we thought makes the highlight of today's show. Now it's time to kick off officially this show. Of course, remember, you can follow this particular show on all of our social media platforms, on Facebook at KUTV Kenya, on Twitter at KUTV_Kenya, at OUMA_012, at Real Pinches. Now the show begins officially. Kenya Rugby Union is set to hold elections of the vice chairman, treasurer, secretary, and 2 directors, followed by the election of chairman and 4 other directors on 24th of March. Among those eyeing KRU chairman position include the former Kenya Rugby Union chairman Sasha Mutai, who has thrown his hat into the ring for the federation's chairman position for the 3rd time. The former rugby patron chairman Agri Chadeba, who will chair the independent electoral board that will oversee the upcoming elections slated for March of 24th. The elections come in the wake of the Sports Dispute Tribunal nullifying the election held on September 6th after they failed to meet the threshold and massive irregularities. The STD ruled that the election of Joshua Arani as the treasurer, Ian Mugambi as the secretary general, and Oscar Mango as director was null and void. Alright, remember that particular story will be forming the basis of our exclusive interview today with the one and only Sasha Mutai, of course, who is eyeing for the chairman position. He will be coming up against one of the most opponent, of course, and he'll be talking to us about what he expects should be done in order to take the Kenyan rugby to higher heights. Of course, this is the 3rd time that is giving a shot to that particular post. Now, moving on to some football action. Harambee Stars held their first training session to prepare for the friendly clash with Iran on the 28th March 2023. The session featured largely local-based players, with Kenneth Miguna of Azam the notable exception. Daniel Sakari, Joseph Mwangi, and David Ochieng, Levis Opio, Abdallah Hassan, Saraj Mohammed, and Andrew Juma are also at the camp to take part in the training session at Kasarani Annex. Right, after at least a close to years, of course, of turmoil, it's good to see our boys now preparing, and it's just a matter of time. It has been a minute, and now that is good news. Wish the team all the best as even they prepare to tackle Iran in the international friendly. Still matters football. 15 Football Kenya Federation coaching instructors have today graduated, of course, after taking part in the 10-day CAF instructors course, which kick off on Monday, March 6th at 2023 at Kenya Institute of Special Education, KISE. The course was being delivered by the Ethiopian CAF instructor and FIFA technical expert Abraham Mabruti. The aim of the course was to impact football knowledge, which will be transferred to grassroots level in the country, so as to enhance the growth of football and nurture young talent at grassroots level. Right, now let's focus on rather some very interesting story that isn't even as much as we talk about nurturing talents in the grassroots level. And this time round, this story is one of that really catches and moved my heart. Kenguru Rockstar rugby team continue to shine amid deplorable state of pitch and capacity building that has slowed its growth. Founded in 2021 with the aim of keeping young talent yet vulnerable children out of crime, the Kihunguro Rock Rugby Academy has become a beacon of hope in a community that is synonymous with high rate of crime, with players like Tabitha Mudhoni earning a call-up to the national under-18 team.
Passed through Kiunguro Street into the maze of old Kiunguro Anglican Church of Kenya, Kiunguro Rock's rugby team is the first from the right.
3, 2, 1,
Here, resilience, love and passion for rugby run deep.
Position.
When he was first posted in this area, as a law enforcer, part of his job was to restore sanity in an area that is synonymous with crime. Salbato Lassa knew he had to start from somewhere. It is then that the idea of Kiunguro Rockstar Academy was born.
The time I came here, even my aim was not to try. It was not there to create a rugby team. Young boys from the age of 4 years to 17 years, they are obvious target because if you capture them, they have no place to go.
What started as a dream has attracted at least 70 teenagers, boys and girls, all chasing their rugby dream.
Niliona tu coach akirusha pale mpira nikasema acha tu niende njaribu. Sasa kuanzia hiyo siku nikaanza kucheza mpaka sasa hivi nimefika hivi. Nikapata ukapteni na sasa mimi ndo captain wa under 30 na watu na train vizuri.
It is a dangerous neighborhood, idle youth that needs somehow to stay busy and to stay sane, he tells me. This is the drive and the motivation that laid the foundation of this rugby academy, and so far it is working. His message to the youngster is simple: take the field and you can be someone.
So I decided that I should mentor them and bring them in a positive way so that they may impact the community and so that they may be an industrious person in the community. And so far, so good.
But if you ever thought for a second that the success of this rugby team has been rosy and smooth sailing, well, think again.
As we speak, we don't have a pitch, but we would really wish to have one. Because you can see, we don't have an official kit. We don't have a kit, actually. We don't have those boots, shorts. Yeah.
On a normal day, training sessions begin at exactly 9 a.m. Players are subjected to physical, tactical and mental training as part of daily routine training. That too has its own fair share of challenges. Today there will be no hard tackle. Players want it, but the pitch won't have none of it. The coach knows he has to play soft for the sake of players' safety. The state of this deplorable field is breathtaking.
We're protecting the game. For rugby, it has its rules. So the rules, like most of the time, we don't play here. We don't play real game most of the time. We don't do back tackles, for they are risky on this ground. We don't do lift tackles. We don't do push tackles at this place. So we try just to use what we have.
Young athletes are learning lessons for life. It's not enough to be faster, hard and best players. They have seen worse and they have conquered it all. And that resilience is paying off for the team that pride itself in players like Tabitha Mudhoni, who has rose to the ranks to earn a call-up to the national under-18 team.
Sasa kuchari wetu wanatupatia motisha to train, to work hard. Sababu one day, one time, a day is coming that hii rugby itatusaidia.
The team faces many obstacles, for example, this field. But who said you need a good field to play rugby? There is no obstacle too great to shatter their dreams.
OUMA Evans for KUTV, Nairobi.
Right, such amazing, the work that Salbato Lassa is doing for the team, and of course in nurturing rugby in that particular Kiunguro area. Such a good one. And now moving on, of course, rather crossing gears and switching gears to international sports, where Graham Potter's Chelsea have been paired with the Champions League's holder Real Madrid in the quarter-finals of the UEFA Champions League, while Pep Guardiola's faces a reunion with former club Bayern Munich. Meanwhile, there will be an all-Italian derby in the UEFA Champions League quarter-finals as Serie A champions AC Milan face current leaders Napoli, while Inter Milan will take on Benfica. The first leg will be played on May 19th and 10th, while the second leg will be staged on the May 16th and 17th. Alright, and now let's take a look at Europa League's draw that were done yesterday. And Eric Ten Hag's side will now take on Sevilla next month for the last 8 tie of Europa League after beating Spaniard sides Barcelona and Real Betis. Elsewhere in the draw, Roma will take on Feyenoord in a repeat of last year's Europa League conference final, while Bayern Leverkusen will take on Union Saint-Galois. At the same time, Juventus will battle it out with the Portuguese side Sporting Lisbon. And now to some EPL actions that is staged to be played today. Chelsea will host Everton on Saturday evening at Stamford Bridge. In another match scheduled for Saturday, Southampton will face Tottenham Hotspurs at St Mary's Park, while Brentford will take on struggling Leicester City. Aston Villa will welcome Bournemouth at Villa Park, while league leaders Arsenal will tackle Crystal Palace on Sunday at Emirates Stadium. Right, and that sum it up the first segment of this on the spot. And of course, we want to take this particular short break, but before we do that, let me just give you a lineup of what we have actually lined up for you after the break. First of all, we'll be having a discussion with the Kenyatta University Disability Team. That is, head coach will be talking to us about the importance of technology as far as bringing the inclusivity in sport is concerned. Later on, we'll be crossing gears and speaking to one and only, that is Peter PINCHEZ. We'll be talking to Sasha Mutai, that is the aspirant who is eyeing the Kenya Rugby Union chairmanship position. Remember, he has tried it 2 times, and this will be the 3rd time that he'll be giving a stab at that particular seat. He has highlighted some of the key issues that he thinks will be pertinent this time round if he clinches the seat. And one of them is the development of rugby, that is both nationally, club-wise, and of course in the grassroots level. That is some of the discussion that Real PINCHEZ will having with him as far as that particular exclusive is concerned. And later on, we'll be talking about the development of yet another very important sport in the country, hockey. And I'll be joined by brutality player, and that is Maxwell, as we'll be diving about the current state of rugby in the country, and we'll be talking about the recently concluded championship that happened here in Nairobi, and as far as the future of rugby is concerned. what an interview we have lined up for you in this particular show, and I'm sure there is some of the discussion that you don't want to miss. And of course, let's take this particular short break, but when we come back, plenty more to follow after the break.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Okay, I just fixed the leak in the sink. What? I can't be with you after what happened.
Hello, darling. It's been a while since you graced my humble dwelling with your presence. You think you're better than me, Sahara? Well, it tastes twice as nice. When pleasure has a price. Stop it! Oh, it's you. Ready for some big news.
Baada ya tohara, hizi ngoma pia huwa zinapigwa kama hali ya kufurahia, kusherehekea na kutumbuizwa, yani kutumbuiza watu ambao wamehusika katika hafla hiyo ambao huwa inatendeka ya tohara.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
People pass vuguvugu. People pass ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na uasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, hiyo inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the Retro Tech. On Technovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day, only on KUTV, a new experience.
What's up, fashionistas? Looking for a show that brings you the latest in the world of fashion, glamour, creativity, and style? Fashion Diaries got you sorted as we explore street fashion, modeling, runways, red carpet events, and so much more.
Catch me, Ashley and Sachi, as we unlock the greatest fashion events. Keep it locked.
We are all seeing the impacts of climate change. In Kenya, for example, the frequency of the floods is becoming more and worse. The amount of people and livestock we're losing.
The level we need to go is a level where the normal mwananchi and also the government stakeholders can uptake these solutions.
Those small acts multiplied by millions of us will help make a difference in the world at the end of the day.
It's just a slight behavior change that we need, and you'll find that it serves us a bit more than you put in, and that's the goal. We want to live a better world than we found, because at the rate we are going, it's dire.
We will secure the planet for future generations.
This is your first time?
Yeah, I'm kind of scared, but I can do this.
Yeah.
Mess with me. Yeah, let's do this, man.
Right, welcome back, and this is where we take the conversation. It's all about matters to do with hockey. And now I'm joined by Maxwell Fuchaka, the Technical University, of course, head coach, and a brutality player, hockey player, of course. Thank you so much for making time to join us here on the spot. Of course, there is a myriad of issues surrounding the development of hockey in Kenya, and many things to do with that. But first of all, let's talk about the development of hockey in Kenya. It has been the growth of it, some might say it has been quite slow, but there is a time Kenya used to be a dominant team force in this particular field, or rather discipline. But how will you assess now where we are, if you taking into account the journey from the time we began until now? How is the progress so far?
Good afternoon. As you heard, my name is Fuchaka Maxwell, and I play for Butali Sugar. On the matter of hockey development in the country, I think so far we might say it's not at the stage that we needed, but we can see that the steps are being put to try and see that we can get back to where we used to be. Although it's taking a long journey, I think mostly development should be, investment has to be there. Money has to be put in the sport. Investors has to come on board. People have to be equipped, well equipped, in terms of coaching, so that we also borrow from other countries and what they do. So if money is there, I think everything will go on well. I can see right now former national team coach Meshak Seng is trying to do something at the city park to try and have little children come through the ranks, so that we can have a feeder players to get into the national team.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about nurturing young talent, because that is where the future lies on, what will you say is some of the hit and of course misses so far as the journey of bringing these the future players into the course of action, of course?
I think the fact that, again, I also say the fact that there's no finances, and now when you're nurturing a player to get to be where you want them to be, a player, remember, you also have another part of your life where you're going into, you're doing education, and your parents want you to get a job. So along the way, when you're having this good crop of players, but now the sport is not paying, and someone finds a job to do, finishes school and finds a job to do, you notice that a very good player has disappeared, is off the fray, probably because of a job. And you see, first things first, it's money first. So if the sport is not paying me and the job will pay me, then I have to say goodbye to the sport. So every time there's that gap.
Okay.
You're breaking through. You get someone, then all of a sudden they disappear. You get another one, like that. But if there was enough money, I think the sport would have retained people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think for the young generation, until they reach a stage where now they can say we want to take the sport as a source of income. But before they reach that stage, of course, there is this the part of nurturing. When you talk about finances, are you talking in terms of those that are responsible for equipping the young, the young lad, or is it from the perspective of the young generation?
I think both sides, mostly on the perspective of young generation. You see, if I am comfortable to take care of children, I will do it with the whole heart. Now, if children also, or the young players, come to a place where they find that it's not conducive for them, and conducive this time I mean in terms of resources, we can't be going to a place to play a sport without shoes. We can't be using one ball, 10 of us. Then I think that is what is even slowing stuff down, because when a ratio should be a ratio of 1 ball to 2, if it's too bad and it's very good, at least a player has to have one ball for each. But in this country, you find that most of the time we will share 1 ball, all of us. And that means there's no teaching that is going on, more of coaching is going on, because now we will resolve into playing a game so that all of us can use the ball. But if everybody had a ball, or we share the ball between two, then we will do our individual skills. We will master our individual skills.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it lack of, goodwill, or what is happening? Where did the rain started beating us?
I don't know. I also wish to know, but I presume it's just because probably we are not marketing the sport the best way possible.
All right.
Because if we put it out there to people and be clear on our program and our project, then I suppose many people want to invest the money. An investor always wants to see, okay, what is the end goal? What is the end game? But if you cannot explain the end game, or you just look like you're there to do for the sake of doing it, then no one will want to put or invest their money into the sport.
All right. Well, this is a very pertinent and, of course, very important discussion, because we are talking about the future of hockey, and so many young, let's say young kids who are watching us right now, and even players who are watching us, and now they're just wondering, is it who is to take the fault? Is it the government, the stakeholders? And when I talk about the stakeholders, I talk about the coaches like you, people who sit there, and of course you have a say at this one. So who is failing who?
I think first of all, I think we've had very minimum support from the government in terms of hockey.
Okay.
Because if you look at the country right now, in terms of infrastructure, there's only one national hockey field, which is an AstroTurf, which is, I think, right now is dilapidated. It's in bad form. And we have a Ministry of Sports, or let's say so. We need to at least have enough fields, at least in every county. There should be a field, because if you see the league is being played across the country, Mombasa, Kakamega, Kisumu, and it should be open to the whole country so that everybody can be tapped in. The more that happens, the more players, because I've played with some players in high school. I can't see them anymore because probably they went to zones like Kitale, let's say Marsabit, but there's no hockey there. Hockey can't be played there. So government must hold the sport, give it support. Also now the stakeholders, especially now let's say the union that is managing or running the sport, must also market the sport the best way possible. That way we'll attract investors. That way we will not complain. Now we also have fewer number of coaches who qualify to the level of coaching teams. If today I told you, I think 80% of the coaches coaching teams are just former players, because of the passion and everything, and because they don't mind not being paid, but they're just giving it because they love the sport. But if we had people bringing these courses to us or sponsoring us to go, because some courses are not done within the country, or if not even done within the country, or bring the people to us so that they can coach us, then I think, yes, we will be at the level that we need. Because now the sport is just being played by, if I wish I am Fuchaka, I go and coach a team, that my wish is what will go with the team. Developed nation is that there is a syllabus of, or let's say there's a way that coaches coach. Everybody has to go through the same curriculum. So you find that the idea is the same across all teams.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about, when I listen to this conversation, of course, and from the points that you're giving out, it's clear that we need reforms in this particular game. But the big question is, who will engineer the reforms?
I think that starts with us as Kenya Hockey Union, or let's say the country itself, the body running the hockey in the country. Those are the people to say, and as former players should come back to the sport and try as much and see, especially those who are successful, see what they did then that was good, that should be done right now, and probably what can we add on to make sure that now this sport is now way better than what was before. Because I also meet Olympians, those people, for instance, Kenya went to Olympics. I sit with some Olympians and I can hear what they talk. You can see the passion from where they are, but they feel there's a lot of impediments in the way. So we need to find a solution where these obstacles should get out of the way, so that now people can come back to the sport and support the sport.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, when you look at, let's say, other nations that have really invested in hockey and they are doing well, and they are par as far as their hockey standard is concerned, what are some of the lessons that we can borrow from them now, even as we forge for the future of hockey in the country?
The lessons are, first of all, there must be a proper structure, especially from the grassroots. In our country, I think the most of the time you hear of a great player, you notice that player was noticed at the national competition of the schools. But you can't track this player to say, okay, where was this player made? Because in developed nations, you can follow a player since the age of under 7. You can follow the ranks and see where this player has gone through and who has been coaching. So there's no doubt that this person has no vacuum. But with us is you meet a player, you meet someone probably at national team level.
Okay.
Because this player was just scouted at the nationals, inter-school nationals. So I think there must be a proper structure all the way from down. And then the top will be easy to manage, easy to produce results, because now, yes, we've groomed someone, we brought up someone in a very correct way and has the basics of the sport.
All right. There is a point you have mentioned, we have to start it from down, and that is in my own understanding, that is we have to invest in academies, something like that. But if you were to reflect back, how will you say, these academies, how far are we with it? There were plans to actually establish hockey academies. So what is happening? Where are we?
Currently, as I told you, there's only one that I'm aware of, that is at City Park, being run by Coach Meshak Senge. Yes, that is the only one, and that is where everybody has to go to. I think he's getting support from outside the country. I don't know, or from well-wishers, but in a way he's managing to run that, and has brought a few people on board. But I think all clubs must have this. But again, how does this happen? If Kenyatta University today had a hockey team, it should be having hockey team in phases, so that from this phase it feeds this phase, then feeds them the main team. Then that way we will achieve and get to the top nations. Because I think in the last few years, not few years, many years, we can't beat South Africa and Egypt in any way, because they really embrace that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the discussion about the development of hockey is something that we can, talk over and over about it, and probably might never come to a conclusion. Now, let's switch gears to, of course, the league that was just concluded, and I understand preparation are on top gear for the resumption of the top tier league. Let's talk about, in particular, the National League, of course. What is your prospect in it, of course, as a player now, from a player's point of view? How is the transformation of the league right now?
Did you mean the Premier League? We have the Premier League, we have the National League.
Now we are talking about the Premier League. And of course, the another one that is closer to that is the National League. Talk to us about the Premier League.
I think the league is, has been played over time, and looking forward going into the league that is going to start. I think there's a lot that teams need to do. If you notice, just few teams, like 4 teams, compete at the high level. It is like more of a given. When I'm going to play a certain team, I know I will easily win. Starting of the league, I expect myself to be somewhere in the top, because I know there's teams that I'll beat. So there's not that competition that we wish that should be there. But again, it's back to the problems that we talked about, the problems of not having structures in place. So all of a sudden, a player comes from Kabianga High School, then comes and joins, for instance, let me sorry to use KU, and then this player, we don't know that player, we don't know how the player developed. So if that player meets me and my team, I'm more 90% sure that I'm going to win. So we need to have good development, so that the league becomes, we need the league to be competitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've talked about the current structure, and of course the competitive team. In terms of numbers, there are quite few. If you were to put your input, or rather to give your view on the number of teams, probably what's your suggestion to make it even more competitive and to bring the taste that the league deserves?
I don't think there's any sense of having so many teams when the quality is down. I suppose, or my idea is keep them small, but make sure that there is competition. There is good competition, because now that will push up standards. I sometimes look at the basketball league in the US. You know that those teams, there's no relegation, there's no promotion. The league stays with the same teams, and it is so competitive. Very, very competitive, and money has been invested in it. So yeah, I think the idea of reducing teams and having different types of leagues is a good idea, but then there's no need of having a top league that is very, very good. Then the lower league is going to feed you a team that is weak. It doesn't make sense. So then, again, back to structures. What are we doing to the coaches down here? Are we equipping them the right way? Are we sharing the same idea? Or people are just standing up and playing their own hockey? We used to call it hockey mamako. So people need, there must be, the union has to come up with a certain way, teach the coaches the right way, and yeah, let it be across.
All right.
Yeah.
when you talk about the equipment, now that is equipping coaches with the right skills, and of course you talked about a very important a statement that former players are now turning to coaches, and that clearly says probably they don't have the the resources required, or rather the skills required to coach at the top level. Well, there is something that is happening in the Football Kenya Federation. I have seen a lot of coaches now undertaking courses. There is some level from level D all the way to level A. Do you think that is something that it is a leave, of course, that the Kenya Hockey Union should borrow from FKF?
Most definitely. That's the only way the sport will develop, because like I told you, in this country you will count coaches, you can count those who are at a higher level, and they can raise teams. But you see again now, these coaches cannot coach 10 teams, can only coach one team at a time. So then that's the reason why I'm telling you that at some point you find that only like 4 or 5 teams in the Kenya Premier League find that they have a force. When they're playing, you feel like, I want to go and watch this game, because probably those are the coaches handling these teams. But we need to be exposed, especially the union should do, especially I've seen in the English Premier League, or I've seen the top leagues, players are turning up immediately to be coaches. Why? Because when they're playing, they're going for coaching courses, they're being sponsored with those coaching courses. So immediately come out, there's no vacuum. Not like in our country, when you retire or get an injury, a career-threatening injury is when you start to realize, okay, what can I do for this hockey? So that is when you want to start going, pushing up and down to see if you can become a coach. There should be something by the union that national team players must be coaches or umpires through the system as they're playing for the national team, so that when now the current coaches are out of energy, or they feel like they want to do something else, it's easy for someone to just pick up and continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about structures, and actually it's a good insight of it. Well, you are one of the stakeholders, and I'll still insist on that one. With all, nevertheless, with all these ideas, why is it taking so long for us to see the changes? Because let's say you sit on the table, you have your input on that. Why are things actually the slow pace of it is something of concern, of course.
I think is not sharing the same idea, and this is even profound in the country. You find that I feel there's no way you're going to have a minister of sport who never played sport. That is first where you go wrong. And then that's why right now you see former players are the ones who are coaching, because they understand the shoe, they know where it pinches.
All right.
So if you put someone in a place that they do not have heart for or passion for, they don't understand, they don't care. They will embezzle funds in the first place. They will want it for themselves in the first place.
All right.
So yeah, we have to put the right people in the right places every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about finances. There is something that I noticed about these hockey teams. Actually, the most successful hockey teams are those that somehow they have what we call financial muscles. When you look at a team like Kenya Prison, of course, they are obvious sponsors. Do you think, lack of sponsors and of course financial muscles could be the reason why some of the teams are really struggling in the league?
Most definitely. You don't even need to go to Kenya Prisons. My team is called Butali Sugar, and we have a sponsor in the name of Butali Sugar by Mr. Sanjay Patel. Definitely, if I have the muscle, the financial muscle, I will come for the best player, and that best player will never turn me down. You see, the world has changed into it's money. It's money matters. So if you are giving me, you're dangling a carrot towards me, and I am here playing for passion, I'd rather add passion plus money. So I'll definitely move. So if money comes in these clubs, definitely be competition. One is everybody will want to go to the top, win the league. So what does that mean? That the sponsors will invest money into the sport, either by giving the players money, incentives, also getting equipment in place, equipping the coaches. Then yes, the league will be that strong. But if it's only 1 or 2, 3 sponsors, sorry to say that you find that the Kenya Premier League has been won by a few teams, namely Butali Sugar, Strathmore, and Kenya Police. Why? Why? Because those people, Kenya Police is sponsored by government. Strathmore University has sponsorship from the university, and Butali has sponsorship from. But these other ones, it's not that they don't have ambition of winning the league; they really wish to. But sometimes I think the finances do a lot because you travel across the country. I'll just mention, like for instance, teams have been relegated or losing points because they could not travel to go to play away matches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about government support. According to you, I just want to confirm, do you still hold the view that government really support hockey?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't think it does because, for information, I've played for this nation since 2007.
All right.
But today, if I sat back and said, I bought this car or I bought that house or I took my kid to school because of money from the national team, no. I think much better there's much more that has to be done by the government. That former players should be celebrated and former players should not die poor. These are patriots who fought for this country, who represented the country, and yes, they must be in good shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you look at teams, giving walkovers because of lack of even basics, let's say transportation to honor their matches, then this is some of which will say it's part of negligence. But who is actually to shoulder this? Because there is a union that is responsible for overseeing the entire operation of the league. At the same time, we have a government that has to offer support. When we talk about these cases, who is actually to be blamed? Leave alone the sponsor part. Of course, I understand every team has to somehow look for the means of how to survive. But on this one, who is to shoulder the blame?
I think both parties have to come together and find a way through to make the sport stronger. One, I said, if the union is not marketing the sport the best way possible, the government will not support. But the government also has to know that it has its responsibilities, that it has judo, it has hockey, it has football, and it has to take care of all the sports equally. Pump in money that is supposed to be pumped in, and then the union will now reciprocate by now doing what? Because there's no way you want me to make cake when you've not given me ingredients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look now. Let's talk about performance now of Team Kenya. Let's leave alone, this the league and everything. Excuse me. The last time, let me give you pretty quick statistics. Kenya have participated in the international competitions since 1956, of course, 1996, 1960, 1964, 1963, and of course the team also played 2 World Cup in 1971. I don't know where you are at the moment. 1973, and was ranked 4th. That is in 1971 after losing 1-2 to West Germany in the semi-finals. Well, up until 2016, Kenyan men were ranked 3rd in Africa, behind South Africa, while the women were ranked 2nd. But currently, our team, have been, struggling against some teams. Now, if we were to draw back, the team was on a right path. Remember? And until now, then that means there is something that is happening. That the previous success was something that we could actually pride ourselves right now. But before even we look at the future, we must first of all tackle the current. What is happening right now? Even as we switch the whole discussion to the club championship, of course, that was just concluded recently here in Nairobi.
I think things are changing. The world is changing and approach of things are changing. But just to borrow on the stories I hear about the successful Kenyan team, it's the same story I've told you. It's about having finances and infrastructure. I'm told then there was a big Asian community playing the sport, and you know how the Asian community is so passionate about hockey sport. So money had been pumped. They pumped the money in themselves. I don't know how they did it. That is what I hear. And that's what was the success. And there was a lot of exposure. Those people traveled enough time. You hear in a year someone has traveled. Some of them even tell me they used to choose which assignment to go for, because again, you cannot go the entire year. You're just traveling. You have a family, you have school, so there was enough. Once you're exposed to situations, and that is why you see in these top countries, you find a 15-year-old playing the top league, the English Premier League. Why? This child has been exposed to these situations enough times that now the child is more experienced than a person who's been in Kenya in the national team for the last 20 years, who's been only going for the must, we call them must tournaments, because like there's a tournament that you have to go to if it's African, you cannot avoid. But there's this trial series where you go to friendlies. That has to happen. So those guys used to travel, one in Barcelona, I don't know where, in France. They tell you stories. And when I was young, I used to think, yeah, this is what I want to be. I want to go to these places. Sorry to say, I never saw such.
Okay.
The only trips I went to were the compulsory trips that I was supposed to go and play for qualifiers or something. But just to go for a friendly match somewhere, not even Tanzania or Uganda. Not.
Now, even as the focus now shifts to you, do you miss the old days? Of course, I've read to you the history of Kenya hockey. Do you miss the glory days?
Most definitely. Who doesn't want to be at the top? Who doesn't want to be the one to be beaten every time? I really miss these days, and I don't know how they come. They will come. Sometimes I sit back and say, probably, maybe when I am not around, or when I've stopped playing the sport. I really wished it was during my times, because I've given it a try many times. I wish the future generations to come can enjoy that. But again, it is more than what you see. There's too much in the background to be worked on for this to be achieved.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you had the opportunity, of course, let's talk about Kenya. And in particular, we have the club championship that was concluded. Of course, Kenya, position was 3. Not bad, but not good, actually. What are some of the lessons that you pick from that particular championship?
The lessons we pick is, again, these things have to be done over and over again. Has to be like a muscle memory. You have to do things. It has to be a behavior. I'm looking at a country, of course, the country that won is Egypt, which we have talked about it already, because these things is nature to them. They do it from when they're small. But there's this country coming up, which was second, called Ghana. If you see Ghana are really investing in the hockey and in the league. Ghana were behind us in the ranking, and right now they're ahead of Kenya, because I think the like-minded people have gotten into it. And if you look, I can see, even like now, right now, the national team coach for Ghana is a guy I played against.
All right.
Yeah, he's a guy, is a young man I played against. But because these people are embracing youth and embracing that there's no demigods for the sport, that this sport has to evolve, and it has to evolve with the current people, because of the people who understand. So yeah, and even the infrastructure. Ghana just the other day got an AstroTurf B after we got the green AstroTurf, but already they've done away with the green AstroTurf. They have the new AstroTurf, which is the blue one. Now, in a span of I think 10 years or something, Kenya will still have the same AstroTurf, which has been years and years, and now it is in a very bad shape. So these guys are putting in effort. So if you put investment, you hope to get returns. I think they're getting returns.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Kenya versus Zimbabwe, of course. It was quite epileptic, if I can call it that one, the encounter. Of course, what was some of the analysis, the things that you read from that particular match?
I think, again, back to our structures, I think we were very poor with the basics.
Okay.
Basics, yeah, just basics, something like stopping the ball and passing the ball, knowing when to pass, and communicating is very important. We do not need super players. We just need the players who are averagely having basics. we made so many mistakes. We just simple things, basic skill, basic things that we're supposed to do in a match. And that's why I think Zimbabwe hit us. Zimbabwe is a nation that is not known so much in hockey. I don't know why it normally happens, but the last time I was in the country, I noticed that there's too much investment in hockey, and especially the whites have invested in that sport. They're the ones playing that sport too much in that country. So they put money in that sport. I think they'll just boom out one day and they'll be top. I've not understood why they have not been going for it since, because the last time I played them was, and I saw them in a tournament, it was in 2016 when we went to Blaue to play them. But these other tournaments, you don't see them coming, but they're very strong. Yeah.
Well, in as much as we look at the, the few mistakes that Kenyan team make, and of course, in particular, the one that you have pinpointed, it's very important because as you prepare for the future, there are some of the things that you have to tackle. Now, generally, third, was that fair enough for Kenya?
Interesting enough, third was not so good for us. It wasn't good in as much as a podium finish, but we really looked to win this, and it was so close. Butali Sugar is the only team, I think, apart from the team that won the league, won the tournament, that did not lose any match. Even the team that's finished second lost match. So it was a technicality of goal difference. We didn't score more goals, and this team that went to the finals from Ghana just beat us, I think, by 1 goal. And the tournament was like 1 meets 1. There was no semi-finals. It was 1 in this pool meets 1 in the finals, 2 and 2 in the semis. But it really, I felt so bad because that tournament we played so well. And in fact, we were the favorites. We were favorites because we beat one of the Egyptian teams, which is unheard of. So yeah, it slipped out of our hands, but we live to fight another day.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, we live to fight another day. Let's talk about now the future. Of course, we want to talk about the past, present, and the future. In 5 years' time to come, what does the future look for Kenya hockey?
Sorry to say, I think it feels bleak if it is to go with the situation that we still have right now. If the things stay the way they are, I think even it will go much deeper. We're just hoping that what we've talked about can happen. More sponsors can come up and pick the club teams. I hope that I expect teams like KU to invest more in their teams, not only hockey. Team like Technical University of Kenya, universities especially, because at BIT they have more of a financial muscle. There's a team, USIU University, not doing bad. I expect them to be doing much better because for them they have full support. They should be amongst people winning the league. But again, you see the USIU comes in the fray, you notice that that's another team that is being sponsored. Teams like KU winning the lower league and being promoted, you can see again the universities behind. But I don't think that is enough. There should be much more. Let money be pumped in. University of such a university, Kenya should be having at least 3 AstroTurfs. I was in South Africa, I think in 2018, and I noticed AstroTurfs is basically, the guys were telling me, in a radius of every 500 meters there's an AstroTurf. Even a school, a primary school, they don't just play hockey in grass or it's on a surface. So how will you ever beat such people? How will you ever beat such people? Because these people are used to these surfaces. So I think universities should also check into that. And when sponsors come in, also you should check on that. And also have own fields. Have your own fields, because if you see most of these other hockey clubs, we're borrowing fields. We check on when KU is not training, then we borrow the following day. We say, okay, can we turn up and train? So look at the frequency of training. Maybe once or twice in a week. And you want to play at the top level, that is next to impossible.
All right. You've mentioned about actually this is a very important topic. Many university teams, of course, they do struggle. One of the reasons could be the one that you have just mentioned. But let's talk about the transition. Do you think transition has played a big role in this, the team of university, of course, struggling? Because at some point, players, of course, after they graduate, they shift. Do you think that could be the reason why we are not seeing the likes of KU now dominating in the top tier league?
No, I don't think that's the reason.
All right.
Because if there's proper structures in the place, you'll never feel a void.
All right.
Yeah, so we are having these one-time wonders coming, put KU up there, then they get lost, then KU is struggling again how to pick people. They can never get those great players again. So they have to take a long process, years, to again find another person. Comes from nowhere again, KU is the top, then again it disappears because these people now will go to the job market. But why is a team like Barcelona staying at the top? Why is a team like Madrid staying at the top? Because when Cristiano Ronaldo is out, there is Vinicius Jr. There is another person behind. So these people are effective. They might not be as good technically as Cristiano or be flashy like Cristiano, but now they're just as effective as Cristiano because they have gone through the same structure. They understand what is our syllabus. Our syllabus says end goal is there and we have to go this way and this way. So yeah, I don't think that is a major reason, the exit of players from the university institutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know yourself, you're a coach, and you coach an institution, of course. Does these things, of course, not affect you?
In terms of what?
You have talked about, transitions not an issue as long as mechanisms are in place. But when you have your best player, of course, on the pitch, and tomorrow he's not there, does it really bother you as a coach?
Yeah, it really bothers me. Like I've told you now, you see you're having, interesting enough, you will see that most of the teams in this country, a coach will have a definite first 11. So on rare occasions, you'll find that a coach has 18 players on the bench that counts on them and says, yes, even if this one is not there, this one has to. It has come to a level where a player comes late to the changing room and you just have to accommodate the player. Because now, he's the best player that you have. This other one who's seated here is to cover you up. Or they're still, you're hoping that they develop and go through the runs. So now you see even indiscipline is getting, because the player knows, but it is me. This team cannot go anywhere without me. So yeah, we need to get away of that. We need us to get to a level where we can afford not to have a Lionel Messi in the team and the team will win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even as we wind up this discussion, so what's your takeaway today?
Is the sport has to come back to the glory days. But again, stakeholders should be listening and knowing that it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get back to where we were. They have to advertise the sport in the best way possible. They have to put infrastructure in place. They have to equip the coaches. They have to support the institutions. And yes, the results will be as they need to, because right now we're expecting an investment where we're expecting returns where there's no investment. It is a sad affair. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is how you have heard it all from the man himself. We need to really invest in the sport, and of course, in particular, hockey. Well, these some of very key discussions that we should be having as far as we need to develop this hockey game in the country, so that Kenya can return to its glory days. Of course, that's where we wrap up this particular interview. Of course, it has been an honor talking to Maxwell Fuchaka, of course, Butali Warriors player, and of course, Kenya Technical University head coach. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you too.
And
go is a level where the normal mwananchi and also the government stakeholders can uptake these solutions.
Those small acts multiplied by millions of us will help make a difference in the world at the end of the day.
It's just a slight behavior change that we need, and you'll find that it serves us a bit more than you put in. And that's the goal. We want to live a better world than we found. Because at the rate we are going, it's dire.
We will secure the planet for future generations.
Hello everyone, this is the new chapter of Let's Be Fit. I'll be host DiCaplo. I'm here to give you various workouts. I'll be having different trainers. We'll have Zumba classes, we'll have aerobics classes, we'll have box exercise, we'll have kata box, just name them.
Pull up in a beam, too much too clean, I'm tall. I don't foster, serious and not a big time player.
The show comes every Thursday from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. Keep it locked. Make sure we keep fit. And that's it. From me to you, let's be fit.
I went flexer, Tina said gym, too hot like a heater. My neck done froze like winter. I'm pretty on liquor, straight on the picture.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Technovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Right, welcome back, and now let's, before we cross over to our another exclusive interview with Kenya Rugby Union, of course, aspirant, that is chairman, who is eyeing for chairman position, that is Sasha Mutai. And of course, but we still have some few stories here. Remember, Champions League draw was done yesterday, the same case with Europa. We have the FKF Women Cup that has been just played. A couple of matches have been concluded, and there is plenty to talk about as far as sport is concerned, and that's what makes this on the sport to be beautiful. Plenty of sports. Now, let me take you through today's fixtures that were played today in the Kenya Women FKF Cup. And Vickers Queens played Royal Starlets at Lanet Grounds. That match was played at 1 p.m. And of course, we had a couple of matches. Remember, this is the 32nd round of this women football, that is FKF Football Women Cup, that has been staged today. Remember, the defending champions are Ulinzi Starlets. And University of Eldoret, tackled the Eldoret Falcon at the University of Eldoret new site grounds. That match was played at 1 p.m. Then there was Gusii Starlets that played against defending champions Ulinzi Starlets Goosey. That match was played at noon. Then we have Kangemi ladies. Remember, Kangemi starlets were leading. Then we had Kangemi ladies who played soccer sisters at Roraka grounds. Then Sunderland Samba who played Kispad Queens at Roraka grounds. Same venue. Then Kayole starlets who are playing Falling Waters at Ngala grounds, that is at 11 p.m. Then Fortune ladies who are playing Gideon starlets. And another match that was scheduled for today, we had Young Bullets playing Nakuru City Queens. Then Kapsabet starlets playing against Kibra Soccer ladies. Tomorrow there will be a couple of matches. That is Zitex Parks will be playing against Bungoma Queens. Then we have Macmillan Queens will play against Gaspo Women at Roraka grounds. That match will be played at 1:15 p.m. Then Kahawa Queens will play against Bunyore Starlets at Kahawa Barracks ground, just here. Then we have Migori Educational Center will be playing against Thika Queens at Migori Stadium at noon tomorrow. Kisumu All Starlets will play against MTG United at Kisumu Stadium at 1:15 p.m. Then Kolwa Falcons will play against Vihiga Queens, the current league leaders in the Kenya Women Premier League, and the match will be played at Moi Stadium. That is the FKF Women Cup that has been staged. Remember, this is the 32nd edition of that particular cup. The winners, the last edition winners were Ulinzi Starlets. The big question, who will be the winner this time round? Well, that is as far as Women League is concerned. That is as far as Women Cup is concerned. The FKF Women Cup is concerned. Now, let's take a look at, the draws that were done yesterday. The Champions League draw. I remember this particular Champions League draw is the one that formed the basis of our question today. I beg your pardon. We ask, which team do you think will go all the way to the semis of the UEFA Champions League? We have teams like Chelsea, the mighty Chelsea, the Blues. Then we have the defending champions Real Madrid. We have Chelsea will be playing against Real Madrid. Then we have Bayern Munich will be playing against Manchester City. Then we have the likes of teams like AC Milan who will be playing against Napoli. That is a Serie A derby, if you ask me, as far as Champions League is concerned. Then the likes of Inter Milan will be playing against Benfica. Wow, what a match, and very interesting to see which team will be proceeding. Remember, the winner between Chelsea and Real Madrid will face the winner between Manchester City and Bayern Munich. And this is a really tough pool and very tight fixtures between four of the most decorated teams and the best in the world, if you ask me. Then we come to Napoli versus AC Milan. Then Inter will be playing against Benfica. The winner between Milan and Napoli will play the winner between Inter Milan and, of course, Benfica. Benfica is from Portugal. Then three Italian teams who made it all to the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League. And remember, let me give you pretty statistics between Manchester City and Bayern Munich. Remember, they have met on, let's say, 6 occasions. City have won 3. Then Bayern Munich have won 3. They have never drawn. So the first leg, the first time they met, Bayern Munich recorded 2-0 against Manchester City. That was in September 27th September, the year 2021. Then the return leg, that is Manchester City, recorded similar margin 2-0 against Bayern Munich, December 7th, 2011. Another time these two teams met was in October 2013, where Manchester City were beaten 3-1 against Bayern Munich. That is in October. Then Manchester City returned similar fate when they met yet again. So in total, Manchester City head-to-head statistics: Manchester City 3, then Bayern Munich 3. Well, this one shows you that this is a match that every team will be wanting to stake their claim, and nobody wants to lose this one. Very decorated teams with very decorated results at par, 50-50, if you ask me. Well, Chelsea have only come up, I think 4 times with the Spaniard. Chelsea have won 2. Real Madrid have won 1 against Chelsea, and they have drawn 1. Remember, the last time Real Madrid beat Chelsea was in the last season's UEFA Champions League, where they recorded 3-1 against Chelsea before Chelsea went to Santiago Bernabeu and do magic. But unfortunately, they were not able to qualify because of the goal aggregate. This time round, they meet in yet again very mouth-watering and very fierce competition between the two sides. Remember, Chelsea has a history. Whenever they proceed against the last 16, of course, they go all the way to the final. Will Real Madrid stop Chelsea quest for another 3rd Champions League title? Well, time will tell. That is, and now let's take a look at Europa League. And of course, Europa League, there has been some quite interesting draws there. Well, Manchester United will be up against Sevilla. Remember, Sevilla is the most decorated team, the team that has won many trophies as far as Europa League is concerned. They are the specialists, some call them that way. Then Juventus will be playing against Sporting Lisbon. Remember, this Sporting Lisbon is the team that actually bundled out Arsenal out of this particular competition. Leverkusen will play against Union Saint Galois, and Feyenoord will play against Jose Mourinho's side Roma in this Champions League, in this Europa League that will be played between 27th, between 6th to 9th of May. That is when these teams will be, these particular fixtures will be played. And we have still some English Premier League actions. Remember, we have a couple of matches lined up for you today, and we have Chelsea will be playing against Everton. Remember, Chelsea won 2 of their previous matches in the English Premier League. They started with Leeds. They went on to strangle Leicester City 3-1, and they got a boost from their famous win from squeezing a win out of Borussia Dortmund. And right now they play against Everton at Stamford Bridge. Well, they managed to squeeze another 3 important points. Of course, they have been there, they have done it before, and who can stop them from doing this? Another match that will be played today is Southampton will be tackling on Tottenham Hotspurs at St. Mary's Park. Then we have Brentford who will be playing against Leicester City. Then Aston Villa will welcome Bournemouth at Villa Park. Then Wolves will play against Leeds. Remember, Leeds are really struggling. They are in that relegation battle, and all is at stake for these Wolves. They have to win. It is a must win for them in order to redeem themselves. Then on Sunday, one match is scheduled to be played. That is, Arsenal will be playing Crystal Palace in a London derby. Well, these are the fixtures as far as English Premier League is concerned. It has been quite a roller coaster ride for Arsenal. They maintain still the lead, 5 points against the team that is chasing in the park, that is Manchester City, who are following closely behind them. This is a team that is following closely to that. Well, I think it's another time that we take a look seriously at what is happening. And of course, remember, we have the Kenya Rugby Union election that will be done on March 24th, and that one we have 3 positions that will be up for grab. We have the position of treasurer, secretary, directors, 2 directors, followed by chairman. Remember, we'll be bringing you exclusive interview with one of the candidates who are eyeing the top job, that is the chairman position. And this is one and only one in particular, that is Sasha Mutai. He has tried it for 3 times. He has tried it 3 times. 2 times. This will be the 3rd time that he will be giving a stab at that particular seat. And will he be lucky this time round? Well, time will tell. Time will tell. Remember, Mutai was elected Mutai said that once elected, he will focus on government relation, corporate partnership, and rugby development in terms of club, national, and grassroots teams. That is what he said. Then he said there is a need to actually tap into vibrant resources that is happening here in the league. Remember, in 2019 he vied in 2019, 2015, 2019, and now 2023. He hopes that this time round he'll be lucky enough. That is, and he'll be coming up against Joe Osando in 2-horse race. Remember, these are the two contenders who are eyeing for this chairman position. Whoever will be lucky, only time will tell. But one of them will be spitting his manifesto in just a matter of time, just to tell us if should he, clinch the seat, what is up for them, and that's how it is concerned. That is the things that will matter the most. Remember our question of the day, and you can keep on talking to us on all of our social media platforms. Remember, on Facebook at KUTV Kenya, we are live on Twitter at KUTV_Kenya, at AU_012. Keep on talking to us. Remember, our question of the day was, which team do you think will qualify to the semis of the UEFA Champions League? Remember, the teams are 8. Chelsea takes on Real Madrid. We have Manchester City will be playing against Bayern Munich. Then we have AC Milan taking on Napoli. Then Inter Milan taking on Benfica. Well, let's take another short break. When we come back, we come. All right, let's take this particular break. When we come back, up next is that conversation. And of course, as far as rugby union is concerned, the interview that we had been telling you is up next.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT, and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the Retro Tech. On Technovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Haya, hatari sana. Karibu kwenye kipindi cha On the Spot. Fantastic, inakuwa ni raha sana kwamba kwa mara ya kwanza tunapata kukuandalia mazungumzo na ambaye tunatarajia atakuwa mwenyekiti wa Kenya Rugby Union. Ndakuwa na kueleza kwenye kipindi ni kwa nini ikatokea hivyo, lakini napata raha kwa sababu ni mara ya kwanza tunapata kikao na yeye kupata kusikia kuhusiana na masuala ambao wanapangia raga na vitu ambazo wamepanga kubadilisha kwenye ulingo wa raga ambao kweli umekuwa ukizungumziwa sana na wengi. Ni mazungumzo ambayo unajua yametarajiwa ama yamesubiriwa sana na most of rugby stakeholders kutoka kwenye Nationwide Championship, kwenye Kenya Cup. Kuna watu wengi sana wamesubiria sana haya mazungumzo. Kwa hivyo niruhusu ndani ya dakika 30 na tupate kuzungumza na mwenyekiti mtarajiwa wa Kenya Rugby Union, Sasha Mutai, ambaye si mgeni kwa wapenzi wa raga. Karibu sana Sasha kwenye kipindi. Ndio mara ya kwanza tunapatana na ni nzuri sana kwa sababu tunapatana kukiwa na habari nzuri. Kwa mtu ambaye anakutazama for the first time kwenye runinga, labda maybe a brief introduction kuhusiana na wewe nani na ushirikiano wako ama uhusika wako kwenye rugby.
Kwa majina naitwa Sasha Mutai. Mimi ndio mtarajiwa mwenyekiti wa raga nchini. Awali nilikuwa naibu mwenyekiti mwaka wa 2012 hadi 14. Alafu pia nilikuwa mkurugenzi wa raga wa 7 kila upande mwaka wa 2006 hadi 2010.
Najua inawashtua wengi, najua labda kuna watu wanasema ai Sasha Kiswahili yake, lakini wanashtuka ai bwana anazungumza Kiswahili kizuri. Sasha, first of all tuzungumze kuhusiana, kwa sababu Safari 7 ilifanya vizuri sana na ikatengeza pesa na lakini mambo yamebadilika sana tangia wakati huu. Kwa hivyo ni kusema kwamba umekuwa na success story ndio kwenye raga. Kwanza kabisa kuna mtu anajiuliza ni mara ya 3 unatafuta kiti ama kuwa mwenyekiti wa KRU. Msukumo umetoka wapi? All these years umekuwa uipati, lakini bado kuna ile nguvu ya kuendelea. Labda hii nguvu inatoka.
Unajua raga ni maisha. Ukicheza raga mara moja inakushika kama inakushika unategwa hapo. Sasa uko ndani. It's like it captures you, you know. So nilikuwa mwenyekiti wa Safari 7 mwaka wa 2012 na 2013. Na hiyo ndio mwaka wa mwisho ambapo raga na Safari 7 zilitengeneza faida. Kutoka 2014 tulikuwa na Safari 7 kule Kasarani, lakini they fell into losses. Nafikiri ilikuwa milioni 25. So mimi nikaona, unajua niliwania hiyo kiti mwaka wa 2017, sikufaulu. Ilikuwa nilifeli na I think 2 votes. Na pia nilijaribu 2019 lakini sikufaulu. Lakini mwaka huu unajua mwaka uliopita wachezaji wengine ambao hata directors katika board watu hapo binafsi hapo nje wakasema raga inaenda chini. Lakini wewe wakati ulikuwa pale raga ilikuwa inaenea juu sana. Tulikuwa hata tumefika nusu finali ya kombe la dunia mara 2, mwaka wa 2009 huko Dubai na kombe la dunia pale Moscow. Lakini kutoka wakati ule sasa mama yameenda mrama hapa, so nikaona lazima, unajua as I said rugby is life. Nikaona sasa watu wanauliza mimi niingie hii mchuano tena, na wakati huu nimefaulu. Mjana mpinzani wangu akatoka katika hii race, so sasa mimi ni mtarajiwa mwenyekiti na itaanza Juma fuatao.
Kwa sababu election ni 24th, kwa hivyo next week Jumamosi kama hii utakuwa kwamba muhuri ushawekelewa kwamba Sasha Mutai ndio mwenyekiti mpya wa Kenya Rugby Union. Sasha, rugby watu wanazungumza kwenye mitandao, kuna hata kwenye Twitter space ambayo ina hostiwa na Pogi. Yani ukisikiza hapo unasikiza a lot of opinion, but kitu ambacho imekuwa constant kama kwa kipindi ni kwamba rugby yetu ifanyi vizuri. Ukienda kwenye ligi zetu hazifanyi vizuri. Kwenye national team mazungumzo yako, the biggest undoing ama kitu ambacho kimekwaza rugby unahisi ni nini?
Unajua sasa ni fedha. Sema kweli tuko na wachezaji na human resource, tuko na watu ambao wanaendesha clubs kila mahali nchini. Tuko na watu, tuko na wachezaji, talent tuko nayo. Sasa ni hela ndio sasa shida. So hata sasa hivi nimetoka na mkutano na kocha mkuu wa Sevens Rugby MWAURA, na amenielezea yale ambayo wanahitaji. Wiki hii niliongea na katibu mkuu wa spoti Jonathan Mweke ambaye ni rafiki wangu pia, lakini ametusaidia sana. Nikamuuliza kama anaweza kutupatia Kasarani for residential training, na sasa wako Kasarani. So hata mimi nimeongea na kocha, anasema labda sasa wanahitaji usaidizi pia kwa coaching, set piece coach, na kuuliza jamaa anaitwa Rodwell ambaye alikuwa anachezea Uingereza, na tutauliza pia katibu mkuu kama hiyo inawezekana. So mimi nishaanza kazi yangu hata kama sijaingia rasmi katika hiyo kiti, lakini sasa kazi ishaendelea, ishaanza na ni kuendelea sasa.
Hata nikuulize sasa, kwa sababu ni siku za kuhesabu, alafu kwetu muhuri wajumbe wa confirm kwamba wewe ndio mwenyekiti, lakini kuna masaibu mengi. Sasa tutaanza wapi? Tutaanza Kenya Sevens, tutaanza Simbas, tutaanza Kenya Cup? Kwa sababu pia niko na maswali hapa kutoka nationwide. Wananiambia sasa, wewe tumeona unafanya interview na Sasha, enda umuulize hivi na hivi kuhusiana na nationwide. Where do we start kurekebisha masaibu ambayo yako kwenye raga?
Sasa hii tuko katika hali mafututi, lakini niko na matarajio makubwa ya kwamba tutakabidhi hizi masaibu yetu. Tutaongea na wadhamini kama Safaricom, kama Kenya Airways na wengine ambao wanaweza kutusaidia kuendeleza hii game. Niko na kamati ya watu wa ushuru, tax consultants, nafanya kazi na Viva Africa ambao wanajulikana sana katika biashara hii, na unajua tuko na ile Cap 470 Income Tax Act. Sasa kuna sehemu hapo kipengele 12(2)Z ambayo inasema ukiweka pesa katika mchezo kutakuwa na tax deduction. So tutafanya hivi, na pia nimeongea na katibu mkuu juu ya hiyo mradi, na nafikiri tutaitimiza. Hiyo ndio, and it's big money, so ati milioni tu kadhaa. Tunaangalia kuleta pesa nyingi sana, at least 500 million in the first year. Na pia tunataka kujenga stadium pale Kasarani. Niliongea na katibu mkuu pia jana kuhusu hiyo sehemu ya ardhi, nafikiri ni kama ekari 20 hivi. Na pia unajua mimi ni contributor kwa kikazi, so niko na ile mpango vile tutaijenga hiyo stadium, na pia nimeongea na waziri Murkomen juu ya ujenzi wa stadium na vile tutaitekeleza hivyo. Hii wito ambaye mtukufu Rais Ruto amesema we'll build stadiums. So tunataka kuwaonyesha pia serikali sisi tutawasaidia kutekeleza hayo ambao walisema katika manifesto yao ya Kenya Kwanza. Ndio.
Sasha, mara nyingi huwa ni kabla ya uchaguzi ama wa kipindi cha uchaguzi, hata wapenzi wa michezo huwa wanasikiza, alafu wanaona bana, hii ni promising, huyu anasema mazuri. Kama mimi nimekufuatia tangia kampeni zako za kwanza, alafu naona hapa kuna vitu ambazo unataja za kubadilisha jinsi mchezaji na mshikadau mkuu anahitajika kuangaziwa. Lakini sasa changamoto huwa haujui kama itafanyika bana. Hata najua kuna watu wengi wanatazama wanasema, alafu hakuna kitu kibaya kwenye maisha kama hope ipandishwe alafu inapigwa kofi. Sasa tutafanyaje kuhakikisha kwamba kwenye uongozi wako si kusema tu hizi vitu zitafanyika?
Yangu ni kusema na kutenda. Na ukiona wakati nilikuwa director na vice chairman, tulitekeleza haya yote. Wakati ule pia wachezaji walikuwa wanatoka na mwisho wa mwezi $6,000. Niliza Andrew Amonde alisema tulikuwa, kwa sababu base salary tulikuwa tunawalipa shilingi 150,000, na hiyo ilikuwa wakati wa 2012-2013. Sasa miaka 10 baadaye hao wachezaji wanapata mara 10 less, na hii ni miaka 10 baadaye. So hiyo mradi tutaitekeleza, kuleta wadhamini, na tutatumia hii tax law Cap 470, na niko na wakurugenzi wengine ambao sasa marafiki wangu wanasema tunataka kuingia raga. Raga inajulikana sana, lakini haikuendelezwa vizuri na hii board ambayo imekuwa hapa tangu tuseme mambo yakaenda vibaya tangu mwaka wa 2015. Ndio.
Wacha tuangazie kwenye ligi, kwa sababu kweli hata national team si national team kama hakuna ligi. Ligi ndio zinazaa wachezaji hawa wana muda mrefu sana kwenye hizi ligi, lakini kwa kipindi hatujaona any investment kwa hizi ligi. Na nikiongea kuhusu hizi ligi, naongea kuhusu Kenya Cup, Championship, National. Kuna swali ambao rafiki yangu mmoja kwenye soka huwa tunazungumza, alafu aliniuliza what is the value of Kenya Cup, alafu mimi mwenyewe nikamwambia ndio nimekuwa nafuatilia raga but sijui value of Kenya Cup. What is the value of championship? National, je, ni kutafuta promotion. So ukishapata promotion kutoka national hadi championship ina maana gani? Ukienda Kenya Cup ina maana gani? Is it just for pride? Kuna ni nini tunahitaji kufanya kuhakikisha kwamba pia hizi ligi zinaendeshwa professionally na pia zinasaidia wachezaji, kwa sababu I think kama ligi ziko vizuri hata kwenye national team itakuwa ni minimal work, kwa sababu already hizi vitu zimefanywa kwenye ligi.
Lazima tupate wadhamini wa ligi kama Kenya Cup kuendeleza timu moja. Niliangalia budget ya Kenya Harlequins kutoka team manager wao Magi, it's not, it need 2.5 million, lakini hiyo 2.5 million ni ngumu sana kuipata, lakini kwa kampuni kusema kuna timu 12 it will not be more than 50 million, lakini tunataka, we have to give value to partners. Sasa mimi nasema sio sponsorship, ni partnership, kwa sababu ni uhusiano ya umoja, tunawapatia value na hao pia wanapata value. Na yetu tutaendeleza na hii tax law ambao haijatumika lakini iko hapo katika sheria za Kenya. So sheria tuko nazo, tuko na uwezo, tuko na watu, sasa ni kufanya kuleta hizi zote pamoja. Na pia nationwide na championship hapa tunafanya ni kama biashara. Kuendeleza team inagharamia pesa ngapi, alafu tunapatia partners wetu, tusema you'll get value ukiweka kwa shati yako na unataka kuuza bidhaa yako katika hii soko. Na soko sasa ni wachezaji na mashabiki pahali popote uendapo, na pia kwenye runinga. Sasa hata broadcast rights sasa lazima, sasa hii nafikiri tuko na contract na K24, lakini sasa nikiingia Jumaa fuatao taangalia hizi zote, hizi contract zote na kuangalia ni gani ambazo zinatufaa na zile ambazo ndio
national. Kwanza umewataja, alafu ligi za huku chini wamekuakilia sana. Nimewaona hata ka statement wakati kwa ile bodi ya kusimamia uchaguzi wakisema walisahaulika. Women rugby pia kuna kipindi walikuwa wanasahaulika sana, lakini angaa tumeona kidogo tu kuna focus. Lakini tutafanyaje ndio tuhakikishe kwamba tusifocus pia na Kenya Cup, tusahau national na championship na women rugby?
Mimi unajua wengine wanasema rugby ni elite. Mimi kata hiyo kauli, nasema rugby is for everybody. Kila mtu kutoka nationwide hadi championship hadi Kenya Cup. Kila mtu acheze raga. Ukiona hapo nationwide kuna sasa timu 52 na tunataka kuaffiliate wengine sasa waingie katika Kenya Rugby Union. Wiki iliyopita Jumapili nilienda St. Peter's Mumias kutazama raga ya shule, nikaona shule Kakamega High School na Koyonzo. Na hawa vijana talent nimeona wakubwa wanaweza kupass, kocha wao wana wadrill kabisa. Naona we have a lot of hope. So hiyo sasa hata wiki hii imenipa moyo sana kufuatilia kiti na nimeipata. Nasema asante kwa Mungu na pia watu wangu wa national ambayo sasa hiyo ni base yangu.
Najaribu kuyachanganya maswali kwa sababu wa muda, based na vitu ambazo ulikuwa umeweka kwenye manifesto, ndio pia mtazamaji apate kusikia kauli kutoka, kwa sababu sasa ni tofauti. Kitambo awali ningekuita tungezungumza kuhusu manifesto tuichambue sana, lakini sasa ushapigwa, imebaki muhuri. Sasa ni lazima nikuulize tutatekelezaje, tutahakikishaje hizi vitu zinakaa vizuri. Umetaja sasa kwa sababu kwenye ligi kunahitajika hiyo transition for a very long time. Tumekuwa tukiona, na ndio maana labda I think championship ilikuwa introduced around 2011 ama thereabout, kuhakikisha kwamba at least team ikitoka national inakuwa prepared for competition pale Kenya Cup. But haijakuwa na umuhimu sana vile, kwa sababu teams zinatoka championship lakini hazimalizi even a season. A good example ni legendary side Main Machine, wana uzoefu kwenye Kenya Cup kwa kipindi kirefu, lakini wanashuka wanarudi, wanashuka same inaenda vizuri bana.
Unajua ni investment, hiyo ni fedha. Sababu ukiona sasa katika Kenya Cup ni timu 2 ama 3 ambao wanania bingwa hapo ni Kabras na KCB ambao sasa wako na sponsors yao, kuna bank institutional. Lakini ukiona vyuo kama University of Nairobi, Kenyatta University, so hawana hiyo fedha, na mimi nimesema nitaileta partners. Tutakuwa na sponsors for every league, so kila club itapata fedha kutoka Kenya Rugby Union. Wakati nilikuwa mwenyekiti wa Safari Sevens, hiyo faida ambayo tuliipata ilienda kwa kila club katika nchi. Hata kama if you're not affiliated but unacheza katika ligi, unapata fedha kuendeleza, yani ucheze raga. Rugby is not on the board, rugby ni on the pitch. Unacheza hapo kiwanjani. Sisi kazi yangu kama mwenyekiti ni kupata hizo fedha na zifike kwa clubs zote, wachezaji wote, hata national team players. Hiyo ni national asset, lazima tu walinde vizuri. Na leo nimeenda Kasarani kutembelea Kenya Sevens, nimewaambia ninawapatia ahadi kwamba I am there with them. In fact, nimenishangaza, very few officials have ever visited the team. So niliwaambia mimi ni mmoja wao, mimi nilikuwa mkurugenzi wa hiyo team, tulipeleka hiyo team juu zaidi, alafu wao wakasema wao walianza kucheza raga because Kenya Sevens ilikuwa inafanya vyema, wakaingia hiyo game. Nasema we'll return you and this country to glory.
Kweli kuna watu wengi sana wanapenda rugby kwa sababu ya kina Injera, kwa sababu uliwaona ama kwa sababu ya matokeo ya Kenya Sevens, lakini pia sisi tutawasahau Simba, unajua itakuwa muhimu. Haya, kabla tuingie kwenye national team na tuangazie baadhi ya masaibu ambayo tumekuwa tukiyaona, kuna varsity league ambayo imezungumziwa kwa sana. Sports option walijaribu msimu mmoja ikakuwa nzuri sana. Nimeona pia kuna varsity league ambayo ilijaribiwa nadhani msimu fulani mwaka huu ama mwaka jana, japo haikufaulu labda sana. Kuna pia Bamburi Super Series. Baadhi ya vitu ambazo watu wanazungumzia kwa sababu haina kwamba Kenya Cup ikikamilika, the only thing to look forward in the longer version ni Enterprise ambao haina msisimko sana kama labda kitambo. Sasa hizi Bamburi Super Series, Varsity League, kuna mpango wa kuzirejesha, na siku kuzirejesha kuhakikisha kwamba zinafanya vizuri na zinapiga mchango mkubwa katika kukuza raga ya hawa wachezaji.
Mpango wangu ni Super Series. Sasa tunapata wadhamini, lakini Super Series itakuwa professional league. Hapo ndio sasa tutapata, na itakuwa timu 6 na itakuwa regional, itaenda kila pale. Mombasa utakuwa hiyo, ni sasa tutaongea katika bodi, lakini vile nilifikiria ni kuwa na timu moja Nairobi, timu nyingine Mombasa, timu nyingine Kakamega, Kisumu, Nakuru, so timu 6 na zote ni in the big cities. Na sasa pia nataka kutumia ile jinsi ambao ukiangalia huko NFL vile wanaweka wachezaji ni ranking system. Yule ambaye ni tuseme ni loose head, kuna loose head, kuna hooker, kuna tight head, second rows 7 6 7 8 number 9 hadi 15, na kila moja sio ati itakuwa kama wakati ule ukisema wachezaji wa KCB wengine wanashikana. Sasa itakuwa ranking based. Yule the best players in Kenya position wise wacheze na wengine, iwe evenly, so it will be very entertaining hivyo. Unajua in America kuna hiyo ranking system na kuna hiyo draft system. Lazima tutumie jinsi kama hizo, sio ile traditional method.
Saidie pia kubalance, sio ule mnyonge anaishi kuwa mnyonge.
Sasa kila mtu acheze, na mtu wa Mombasa acheze na mtu wa Kabras, mwingine wa Kisumu acheze na mtu wa Nakuru, position wise. Hata hiyo sasa ni kama ujamii, jamii yetu ya raga ni mahusiano na tutapendana, this game has to grow. Sasa hizi ukiona sasa kuna ile mtafaru, yani kuna ile schism ya wamegani. Kwa nini? Kenya Rugby Union, we need to be united. Hiyo lazima tukae pamoja, tuendeleze hii game, tuijenge, na tunaweza, mimi nataka na matarajio makubwa ya kwamba tutafaulu kuingia kombe la dunia mwaka wa 27 huko Australia. Na leo pia nimepita hapo trials ya Kenya ya Simba. Jerome Pavata ambaye alikuja wakati wetu amerudi. Sijui ni kama kila kitu inaenda tu inaingia tu kabisa. So hiyo naweza kusema asante sana kwa Mungu pia. Unajua nafikiri huu ni wakati kujenga game na kuendeleza na
Naambiwa tuna dakika 5 zimesalia. Unajua kuzungumza na wewe hata nilikuwa nawaambia pale tukiwa kando, naambia acha niwaambie mazungumzo ya rugby haiwezi isha hata within 1 hour. Ni very long, ni kujaribu tu kuchagua vitu ambazo zinachoma maini ya watu. Sasa wewe imebaki mhuri, lakini kuna directors, kuna secretary, kuna treasurer, bado uchaguzi. Na uongozi wako pia, mchango wa hao utakuwa muhimu sana. Kwa sababu kumekuwa pia na mazungumzo kwamba kuna vita pale kwenye union, sijui kuna mgawanyiko na labda imechangia mambo kutoka vizuri. Utafanyaje kuhakikisha kwamba hakuna mgawanyiko kwenye union ambao utamfanya mchezaji akose mazuri ama mdhamini asitake kuinvest? Na wewe labda huna nguvu ya kuamua wajumbe watamchagua nani naibu mwenyekiti, watamchagua nani mweka hazina, secretary, directors. Hauna hiyo nguvu, ni wajumbe waamue. Wajumbe wanaweza kupa mtu ambaye labda hamtafanya kazi ama ataharibu mipango. Sasa ni kitu nini ambacho utaweka kuhakikisha kwamba hii board iko united?
Unajua mimi sasa ni captain, mimi na order wa hii team. Sasa wachezaji sasa Ijumaa tutajua wachezaji wengine, lakini team captain ndio mimi hapa. So kwangu mimi ni hao wachezaji, kila mtu ako na kipawa chake. Mwingine anaweza kufanya hivi, mwingine anaweza kufanya hivi. Sasa ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba kila mchezaji wa hiyo team ya board wanafanya kazi pamoja. Tunasoma, wanasema kwa lugha ya kimombo, reading from the same script, from the same kabisa. So hiyo sasa, that is what leadership is all about. Mimi nimekuwa hata captain ya timu, nimekuwa pia naibu mwenyekiti wa Architectural Association of Kenya. So hiyo yote nimeona vile ni teamwork. Sio Sacha Mutai peke yake ambaye atafanya hiyo kazi yote, ni hawa madirectors wengine ambao tutafanya kazi pamoja. So lakini ndio tunawajua wengine wako na sifa zingine, wengine wako na kashfa ambazo tunayajua. Tunataka the best directors to be chosen, and that is democratic. Sasa hawa affiliates on Friday wataamua, na mimi nitafanya kazi nao wote ambao watachaguliwa. Mimi ndio nahodha, lakini hao wengine ambao watachaguliwa Ijumaa tutafanya kazi na kila mmoja wao, and we'll build this game for greater good.
Sasha, kuna mazungumzo mengi, kuna watu wanauliza kama labda KRU kazi ni mingi sana, wagawe, kukuwe na association. Ni baadhi ya mzungumzo kwenye mitaa, lakini kwenye hizi dakika ambazo zimesalia nataka tutoke live, alafu si tubaki tukipiga, tunaweza record mambo yetu hapa. Lakini kwa mtazamaji ambaye anakutazama kwenye hiki kipindi, ametupa matumaini ama hana matumaini, amekufa kuhusiana na rugby ya Kenya. Wa mashabiki wanakuwa nafasi ya kwanza kusema hii Kenya Sevens iko chini, ona wamepigwa, lakini hawataki kujua ndani nini imefanyika. Lakini ni sawa, kwa sababu ndio kazi ya ushabiki, ndio ushabiki. Kwa yule ambaye anatazama na alikuwa amekufa moyo, hana matumaini kabisa na rugby ya Kenya, zungumza na yeye, mpe matumaini kwamba kesho mambo yatabadilika. Wiki ijayo tutaona mambo yakibadilika na yakifanyika jinsi yanavyofaa, na mchezaji atapata haki yake, ama mshikadau mkuu atapata haki yake, kwa sababu kitu cha muhimu ni mshikadau mkuu ambaye ni mchezaji. Bila mchezaji hakuna rugby
kabisa. Mimi nilikuwa nacheza raga, nilistaafu mwaka wa 99 wakati nilivunja mguu, na leo nilienda kwa wachezaji pale Kasarani, wachezaji wa Kenya Sevens, niliwaambia kutoka sasa, they said there's a new sheriff in town. Haya yote ambayo yamefanyika, na najua haya matatizo ambayo mko nazo hapa, malipo nini. Sasa SportPesa pia sasa wanalipa, so wanapata mshahara, lakini haya mengine kama nutrition, kama pitch, hata assistant coach. Kwa hiyo sasa hii nimetoka kuongea na kocha mkuu David McGrath na team manager, na niwaambia waandike barua kila kitu ambacho wanahitaji. Mimi nitachukua hiyo na nitaitekeleza. I said I deliver. Ukiuliza unahitaji hii, na wakati huu tuko in the threat of relegation na hatutaki hiyo, na nitafanya juu chini kwao, kwa wachezaji wapate kila kitu ambacho wanahitaji ili wacheze vizuri na waendelee kuwa katika series. Na pia Kenya 15s unaona pia tumepata coach mpya ambaye anajulikana sana, Jerome Pavata amerudi, na Kenya wataenda Afrika Kusini kucheza Currie Cup, lakini tutakuwa na wadhamini na hakikisha kila mmoja wao hapo nje watakuja, wanarudi. Be prepared.
Asante sana Sasha Mutai kwa muda wako, hizo dakika nadhani ni nzuri. Ni safari tumeanza ya kukutafuta, kwa sababu sasa vitu ambazo umesema mimi nitakuwa mstari wa mbele kukutafuta na kudai Sasha bana, ulisema mdhamini, hali vipi? Hiyo update ni nzuri sana, kwa sababu nadhani kwa muda mrefu tumekuwa tukitaka raga yetu irejee katika, tunataka tujipate tunafanya vizuri kwenye fainali za kombe la dunia, kwenye nusu fainali. Hiyo ndio watu wamemiss bana. Tunataka utuone pia wachezaji wanajivunia kucheza, si kujivunia tu kuvaa jezi ni ya Kenya, lakini wajivunie pia kwa sababu wanapata marupurupu ama wanapata kitu ama uposho pale ndani. Asante sana Sasha Mutai. Na ndio hizo dakika zetu chache, niseme tu samahani kwa ule ambaye labda alitegea kutoka saa 8, tulibadilisha kweli mipango, lakini hatukupata kukufahamisha kwa haraka, lakini yote tisa ni kwamba umepata kusikia kutoka kwa the horse's mouth Sasha Mutai, ambaye tunatarajia atakuwa anapigwa muhuri kwa mwenyekiti wa KRU kwenye uchaguzi ambao umeratibiwa tarehe 24 Machi. Kuna mengi ambayo pia atakuwa anafanyika kuwachagua madirector wa secretary treasury, yako inafanyika hapo, na tutakuwa tunafuatia kuhakikisha kwamba tunakupa habari za haya na mengi, lakini kwa sasa wewe digest hayo ambayo wamesema, alafu tupatane pia kwenye mitandao tuzungumze. Narejesha hii kwenye studio.
Right, those are the words of Sasha Mutai. Of course, that is the new Kenya Rugby Union chairman. Of course, just awaiting confirmation. He has talked about so many things that he hopes once he takes off officially, he will tackle them. Among them, of course, is just he's calling upon all stakeholders to come on board and unite. There is a new sheriff in town. Those were his words. Now that's bring us to an end to this particular on the spot. And of course, when we come, it's a wrap up. It has been amazing, 1 hour and 50 minutes or so, and that's how we leave it up to that. Many thanks for those who made this production a success, and of course to you, our viewers, for always keeping us company. Let's meet next week, same time, same place, by the grace of God.